Hey everybody, welcome back. So I don't want you to slow down just yet. You've just landed a new client and you're celebrating, yay! But make sure that you do these 5 steps first as you're onboarding a new client. Hey and welcome. My name is Jennifer Sanhinas and I teach virtual assistants and online business owners how to build WordPress websites with no code and without all the headache. So today I wanted to talk to you about 5 things that you need to be doing as you onboard a new client. Okay, so you've learned how to build websites or you're slowly learning how to build them and you've got somebody who's willing to trust you to build maybe their first website or you're building one for yourself. Even you've kind of gotten that process down and you're getting on track. These are the first 5 steps that I want you to do, okay? So step number 1, have a simple to deliver proposal. If you use those, make sure your packages are in line and they have all that stuff, and make sure that your contracts are really easy to access. So I use Dubsado. I've got plenty of other opinions about that, and I'm happy to share those with you if you want to know more about why I use and love Dubsado. But my biggest tip here is just to make it easy on yourself. Don't take 3 hours to send somebody a proposal. I have a whole thought process on why I do packaging, and part of that includes not having to spend a ton of time on doing things like long proposals and really custom proposals. But even if you do a proposal or if you have those packages already preset in something like Dubsado, have those things completely ready to go so that you just are sending it to the client and it's not something you have to sit down and spend a really long time on. Okay, so my second thing is I want you to make it easy for them to pay you. So whether that's you send them an invoice or if you use PayPal or if you do, still talking about Dubsado or 17 Hats, some of those other top programs, make it easy to pay them, okay? You're not having to be pushy by asking for money. You've already made the sale, right? They've already signed your contract. You guys have had the sales call. All that stuff has been taken care of. And so now you just need to give them a way to pay you. You would not believe how many businesses make this so difficult. I've actually been recently, I was at the hospital with my daughter just trying to pay a bill, and I went into 3 different areas. Granted this was in person, but still I went to 3 different areas and none of them would let me pay my bill there. I was like, I'm trying to hand you hundreds of dollars. And so for websites, people should be handing you thousands of dollars. Make it easy for them to pay you, okay? So step number 1, have your contracts and proposals and things like that completely set up as it can be and ready to go. And then after they've signed those things, be ready to get paid. The next thing is I want you to be extremely clear on what the next steps are. So this is not just next steps for them, it's also next steps for you. And so if you have a really great process that's all outlined, you should know what your next steps are. But if you guys have had a phone call already, or you are expecting copy from them, or if they need to now get in touch with their photographer, some of that stuff is on their plate, but it's on you as the designer and as the leader of this project to let them know what the next steps are. Okay, so do you need their homework by a certain day? Do you need other things turned in by a certain time frame? Do they need to reserve specific projects dates still? Maybe they've paid your invoice and signed things, but they haven't actually reserved dates yet. So you need to be clear. Bullet pointed lists are great inside of an email. If you've done a phone call, I always suggest sending an email as a follow-up and just kind of hit those high points of that phone call and let them know what their next steps are and what your next steps are. And I think that last part's really important because they've just given you a lot of money, and I think that we can do them the courtesy to let them know, like, hey, while you're working on these things, these are the things I'm going to be working on. And oftentimes, it's really helpful to explain to clients that a lot of their work and their pre-work and their homework and things like that are actually on this front end. And so oftentimes they're paying you and then they're turning around and they're actually doing a lot of the work first. And so I like to let them know what are a few things that I'm doing during that process. Even if my next step is physically to wait for their stuff, like letting them know that's my next step. I'm waiting on this from you. So being really clear about the next steps is incredibly helpful. Tip number 4 for onboarding your new clients is going to be just staying in communication with them. So I understand a lot of you all book clients out multiple months in advance. That's the case for me. I try to stay about a quarter out, so 2 to 3 months out on projects. And so while you're doing that, they've hopefully paid a deposit. Hopefully you require some type of a deposit for them holding a spot on your calendar. So once they've paid that deposit, don't just disappear. Send, even if it's an automated email, you can send something and check in on them every once in a while. If they have things like homework that's due, send them a reminder. Don't just wait till a day or two before it. I have some automated emails that say, based on their homework being due on this day and their project starting on this day, this email needs to go out here, and just have those things canned, write it once or twice, and then get those things to send out automatically. Or if you have anybody else who helps you in your business, have that be scheduled. We schedule things like social media posts and all this other stuff for our business. Like, schedule these communications with your clients, and when it comes time for your actual project to start, you will start with a much happier client, I promise. And my last tip here, tip number 5, is going to be to have a repeatable and redoable process in place to begin executing as soon as they're done with these other things. So if you have it in something like Asana or Trello, in Site Design Blueprint, in my website design course, I actually teach students how to use Asana to build out their process and lay it all out inside of something like that. You can use a pen and paper, whatever, but have something that is repeatable, that you know every single time. Like, these are the things you start with, check mark that these things are done, and then you'll be able to know, again, really important to let them know what those next steps are and what your next steps are as well. You'll also be able to get started a whole lot quicker if things like folders in Google Drive. That's another thing that I use for my clients. And so my virtual assistant and I have like a really good process for, copying these certain folders and making sure these certain types of clients get these folders, and these folders have these documents, and these things get relabeled, and all of this. And so the better of a process you have outlined that you can repeat, the better that you're going to set that client up for success for their project. And one last little tip here that I have, actually, I heard this from a mentor of mine, and she was totally right when I did it. It kind of sounds a little like out there, whatever. But every time you get a new client, go ahead and you can do multiple of them, but go ahead and make those new folders or those new projects in Asana, whatever it is that you have, that you would normally get the client, and then you go in and like set up all this stuff and copy all these folders and copy all these documents. Go ahead and do that and name those your new client. So say like next client number 1, or April client number 1, April client number 2, things like that. And of course, when the way she was talking about it, it was like, this will help you manifest clients or whatever. I don't believe in all that stuff, but I do think it was really helpful to know that the next time I talked to somebody, I was able to get them those things out so much faster, because I knew that I already had literally a folder with their name on it, and I just replaced the client name with their name as soon as they had signed all of their stuff. So again, those 5 tips are to have a simple and easy to send off and sign a contract, proposal, however you get that first step started. Make it easy to pay you. Like I said, they've already said yes to you, so make it easy for them to pay you. Be clear on your next steps, and for you and for them, and then communicate along the process, especially if you have some gaps in between of when you guys start working together. And then have a repeatable process that's easy to just push go on and that you're ready to execute on. And go ahead and name those folders and name those documents and get them ready for your next client. I hope these were helpful. If you have other questions about how to get started in website design or how to get started building websites, I'm happy to help answer any questions. See you next time.